Okay, so we have a Toyota Coaster, as you can see, and we're going to be repairing this ball joint on the side, which, if I can show you, connects up under here. Okay, so it connects onto that ball joint there, and this baby basically stabilizes the door when it opens. So for this to work, we need to remount it up here. The reason we're doing this is because I'm going to show you that way. This particular one here, oops, there we go, this one here came off the door, but this kept falling out of its ball joint. So I mean, it's old, it's worn, as you can see, it's pretty miserable. Not being a fan of Toyota prices, I'm going to be replacing it with what we can get. And what we can, of course, I got this one here, which is perfect, but it's got the wrong thread on it. The thread on these I'll take you through so you don't make mistakes like I did. That's a M10 left-handed thread. Okay, I got one, it was an M10, but it's right-handed thread, so that one's useless. This one is an M10 left-handed thread off eBay for about 10 bucks. Now, leaving, of course, the center part, which we have to do, and that's about 6 mil. I'll do the sizes so you can see. Okay, so we got about 7.5 mil. And that one there is 10 mil. So at 10 mil, I believe the pitch is one pitch, but of course I only sell it as 1.5. It is a little bit tight getting it on, but it's not too bad. So at the moment, if we were to put that on there, that would be our height. But with this one here, it's slightly smaller. So roughly measuring it, we probably need to screw it onto about there to bring it forward just a little bit, as you can see. Okay. So what I'm going to do, whack a bit of WD in there, just to help it go on. So this is left-handed thread. Quite tight to get on. I think we just, yep, we've just undone the inner one now. That's okay. We're going to have to put it in the vise and tighten it down just to get it a few more fractions down lower. Okay, back again. So we unscrewed it from there. Basically we can screw that back in. This is it now. I've put it in the vise. You can see two flat sides there and there, so you clamp it on there, and then you can actually screw it on and also slightly tap it. Now's a good time to tighten this nut up as well. Now remember, this is adjustable, designed to be adjusting in and out so that your door actually does close. So if we're going to need to make an adjustment, it's going to be easier to make it on this side now. So the next question is here, we have this, we're turning it into this. So what I'm using here, this is a 10 mil diameter, and we want something along the lines of basically this type of bolt to be able to go through. That's an M6, that should work fine. We're going to be using inserts, which is like a pot rivet with a thread going straight through it. That's going to be able to take up our space. As you can see, they're nicely threaded. So we're going to be putting one of them on. So it goes on this way. Just pop that in there. You can see from the inside there is a gap, but what's going to happen is it's going to expand up and it's going to allow us to center that, and then using a couple of nuts on top and bottom, it will be able to be a good guide for our door. You can always just buy the factory one, but unfortunately they are expensive, so that's why I'm not too much of a fan. Okay, that's in there nice and tight as I can get it. Just squeezing it with the tool. Now I have to undo it. That's basically just putting in the thread in the middle, allowing it to be centered, as you can see there, and that's fairly rock solid because they expand quite a bit in the center, pushing against that. So now if you look in there, we have our thread. So to make this a better installation, what we're going to do is we're going to put the bolt through here, and it can't actually pull through because the head's too big. This keeps it fairly small and tidy. Ideally I would be using a smaller bolt, but unfortunately I didn't have one, so it means I'm going to have to cut this huge length down. Also, if we look at this now, we're trying to make that sort of shape there, so I'm going to be putting in a couple of bolts just here, just as spacers, just to give it a bit more space. 2 should be sufficient, and then I'm going to be using one more bolt on the top, which is a what they call a nylock bolt, which is a not come loose type bolt. This is spinning, that's why we're not getting anywhere. It's going to take a little while to wind this whole bolt all the way through. Bit of a tight spot there on the thread. Okay, I'm going to have to pause it now, hold this, and then screw the bolt all the way through, and I'll come back. Okay, back again. So what I've done is I've got the insert coming in from this side, as you can see. I've put the bolt from the back, and then I've tightened it up with 2 nuts on top. So basically those 2 nuts and those bolts are squeezing that insert in there even tighter than it already is. It's squeezed and press fitted in there now, but as you can see, it's not going to pull through either side. And what we're trying to build is this. And we're trying to build this, and if you look at it, it's pretty much the same. So let's put this back in there. We are here. I'll try and show you what I'm doing here. Screwing that back in there. Now that can be our adjustment if needed, but we're about the same size, so I don't really think it's exactly necessary. Using the flat part here on this, screw that up, and that's also got that nut on there too, so we're really working against that nut. What I might do is I might just back that off a turn if I can. 1, 2, yep. Oh. Back it off another one. 1, 2. So I backed it off a few turns there. Okay, now I've got that tight. I'll leave it loose at the moment. So this basically is designed to bring the door like this. It's designed to pivot the door from down there over to there when it opens. So we're going to have to find out where exactly it wants to sit, and then we can adjust and tighten it, and it's finished. Now keep in mind, when you have this bar off, this door moves, as you can see. It's only pivoted by one spot. Okay. Only pivoted by one spot. This is its stabilizer just down here. So without that, you can see what the door's doing. So you got to be very careful when you take it off. Okay, I'll put my camera about there. That way we can both sort of see what's going on. Okay, this is where I need to connect my bolt. And then I can check on how it's all fitting up. Now I'm going to use this upside down, then use another one on top because it has a bit of a centering. Well, it's recessed, so that'll help center it. Another 2 bolts on there. Actually, just to get the right spot. Just tap that on there for now. Alright, it's a long bolt, so I'm going to need to get my drill to tighten that up. Yeah, so looking at it, also checking the distance on the gap. If it's hard to pull or anything like that, then it needs to be readjusted. Both sides locking. That's our $10 ball joint.